Wealth Building Blueprint, Step-by-Step System to Grow Your Net Worth. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Money is simple, but people make it complicated. The truth is, wealth doesn't belong to the lucky few, it belongs to those who follow a plan. Not a flashy plan filled with hype or secrets, but a clear, repeatable blueprint. This book isn't about chasing trends or gambling on miracle investments. It's about building wealth the way skyscrapers are built, one deliberate layer at a time, on a foundation designed to last. Most people never build that foundation. They drift. They spend what they earn, hope for a raise, maybe dabble in a stock tip, and wonder why real progress never comes. Meanwhile, they feel like wealth is reserved for someone else, someone smarter, luckier, or born into the right family. But here's the shift: wealth isn't a matter of chance, it's a matter of design. Zig Ziglar once said, "You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great." This isn't just true for personal growth, it's true for money. The sooner you start, the sooner small, intentional actions compound into something extraordinary. This book gives you that starting point, and the path forward. Inside, you'll find a simple, step-by-step system anyone can follow, whether you're digging out of debt, sitting in financial limbo, or ready to accelerate toward freedom. You don't need to become a financial expert. You just need a plan that works and the discipline to follow it. Wealth doesn't happen overnight, but it happens inevitably when you follow a proven blueprint. This is that blueprint. The question isn't whether it works. The question is, are you ready to start building? Chapter 1: The Wealth Myth: Why Get Rich Quick Fails Every Time. It starts with a story you've heard before. Someone stumbles into sudden wealth, lottery winnings, crypto explosion, fast-scaling startup, and within years, they're broke, burdened, or back where they started. How does that happen? How can someone go from fortune to frustration so quickly? The truth is simple: money without a method doesn't last. We live in a world addicted to the idea of fast. Fast food. Fast shipping. Fast success. It's no wonder people fall for fast wealth. From flashy TikTok gurus promising $10,000 a week to friends pushing the next once-in-a-lifetime investment, the noise is constant. But here's what no one selling the dream will tell you: every shortcut has a hidden cost. When it comes to wealth, rushing is often the most expensive move of all. Behind every overnight success lies years of invisible groundwork. The entrepreneur who suddenly made it likely spent a decade failing forward. The investor who timed it perfectly probably weathered years of staying the course. In reality, wealth is almost always a product of design, not destiny. It's the output of consistent behavior over time, much like growing a tree. You plant, water, wait, prune, and one day fruit appears. But miss a season of care, and the growth stops. Here's the real reason Get Rich Quick doesn't work: it treats wealth like a moment, not a method. It depends on luck, not leverage. It's reactive, not intentional. That's the trap. And escaping it requires a mindset shift, from sprint to system, from wishful thinking to repeatable habits. Now, that doesn't mean building wealth has to be slow or painful. It means it has to be structured. Just as you wouldn't build a house by randomly stacking bricks, you shouldn't build your finances by randomly chasing windfalls. What you need is a blueprint. A clear, step-by-step framework that turns income into savings, savings into investment, and investment into net worth. And you need it to be simple enough to follow, even on your worst day. This book is that blueprint. Think of it like financial GPS. No matter where you're starting, no matter how many wrong turns you've taken, the system recalibrates. It begins with understanding your current position, continues with automating good decisions, and builds momentum through strategy, not struggle. There's nothing flashy here, just results. The real power of this approach isn't just that it works, it's that it lasts. When wealth is built on behavior, not hype, it doesn't disappear with a market dip or a missed promotion. It compounds. It grows. It frees. So here's the invitation: forget the hacks, the hype, the overnight hype trains. You don't need a miracle. You need a method. And every chapter ahead will give you one more piece of it. Because here's the truth that unlocks it all: wealth isn't built overnight, but it is built by design. And starting that design begins with one question: where are you right now? That's where we go next, into the numbers, into the truth, into the starting line of your financial blueprint. Get rich quick is a myth that masks chaos as opportunity. Wealth grows from systems, not surprises. Consistency beats intensity every time. Where in your life have you chased shortcuts instead of building systems? Write down one quick fix you've tried in the past and what it cost you. Commit now to replacing shortcuts with structure. Chapter 2: The Starting Line: Tracking Your Net Worth with Precision. Before you can build wealth, you need a clear picture of where you stand. Most people guess at their finances the way they might estimate calories in a meal, vaguely aware but not precise. And just like fitness, guessing gets you nowhere. You wouldn't start a workout plan without stepping on a scale, and you shouldn't start a wealth-building plan without calculating your net worth. It's not about judgment, it's about measurement. What gets measured gets managed. Net worth is deceptively simple. It's everything you own minus everything you owe. Assets minus liabilities. But behind that simple math is a powerful truth. Knowing this number provides the clarity and focus that most people lack. It turns vague worry into concrete steps. It stops the swirl of "am I doing enough?" and replaces it with "here's where I am, here's where I'm going." Facing that number can feel intimidating at first, but avoiding it only delays progress. Numbers don't bite, they illuminate. Start by listing every asset you own. Include bank accounts, retirement funds, brokerage accounts, real estate equity, vehicles, even smaller items of value if they matter. Then, on another list, write every liability: credit cards, student loans, mortgages, car loans, personal debts. Be exhaustive. Partial lists create illusions, complete lists create plans. Subtract the liabilities from the assets. That number, positive or negative, is your net worth today. It's your financial starting line. For many, this moment is eye-opening. Some are relieved to see they're better off than they thought. Others realize they've been underestimating their debt or overestimating their savings. Either way, awareness creates power. You can't solve a problem you won't name, and you can't optimize something you won't measure. Think of it like turning on a flashlight in a dark room. The layout hasn't changed, now you can just see it clearly. This isn't about shame or celebration. It's about direction. If your net worth is negative, it's simply a snapshot of where you are, not a sentence about where you'll stay. If it's positive, it's a reminder that maintenance alone won't create freedom, growth will. Either way, knowing the number is liberating. Instead of operating on hunches, you're operating on facts. Once you have the number, track it monthly. A simple spreadsheet or free online tool works fine. Each month, update balances and debts. Watch the trend. Over time, you'll notice the line inch upward, even if slowly. That shift is motivating. Progress measured is progress multiplied. It reinforces discipline because every deposit, every debt payment, every smart move becomes visible evidence of change. Think of net worth tracking like checking your coordinates on a map. It doesn't tell you everything, but it tells you where you are. Without it, even the best financial advice is like giving directions without knowing the starting point. With it, every next step is tailored and purposeful. This is your baseline, your truth in numbers. From here, every decision, saving, debt payoff, investing, builds on something solid. No more drifting. No more guessing. Just a clear, defined starting line and the road ahead waiting to be traveled. Wealth isn't abstract anymore. It's math. And once you see the math, you can change it. That's the power of tracking net worth. It's how you move from financial fog into focus. And from this focus comes the first real step forward, paying yourself first and turning savings from an afterthought into a habit that drives everything else. Net worth is your financial starting line, assets minus liabilities. Measurement replaces anxiety with clarity. Tracking progress monthly builds focus and motivation. When was the last time you calculated your net worth, if ever? List every asset and liability today. Calculate your net worth and record it as your baseline, Chapter 3: Pay Yourself First, Automating Savings Like a Pro. Imagine trying to fill a jar with water while poking holes in the bottom. That's how most people treat their savings. They plan to save whatever is left over after spending, only to find the jar empty every month. Here's the shift that changes everything. Instead of saving last, save first. This single habit flips the script on wealth building because it ensures your future gets funded before anything else. Pay yourself first. Sounds simple, but it's more than a catchy phrase, it's a mindset. When your paycheck arrives, the first move isn't paying bills or buying groceries. It's transferring a piece of that income directly to your savings or investment account. Doing this automatically means you remove willpower from the equation. You no longer decide whether to save each month, it just happens. Like brushing your teeth, it becomes routine, invisible, and powerful. Automation is the secret weapon here. Set up an automatic transfer the day after you get paid. Even if it's small, consistency beats size early on. Imagine directing $100 a month into a high-yield savings or investment account. After a year, that's $1,200. Over a decade, without touching it, that's over $15,000, before adding any growth from interest or returns. The habit builds, the account grows, and suddenly you've moved from hoping to save to actually saving. Psychology plays a role here too. When you automate, you don't feel the pinch. Money that never hits your checking account is money you don't miss. You naturally adjust your spending around what remains, instead of the other way around. This reverses the trap most people fall into, living at their income ceiling and trying to carve out savings afterward. Paying yourself first ensures that your financial priorities happen by default, not by chance. To set it up, start simple. Open a separate high-yield savings account or a low-cost brokerage account if investing is your goal. Then log into your payroll or bank and schedule an automatic transfer, ideally on payday. Even if it's just $50 or $100, the act matters more than the amount. As income grows or debt decreases, you can increase the percentage. What begins small can scale significantly without disruption. Consider this like planting seeds in a garden you never forget to water. Each automatic transfer is a quiet deposit into your future. Over time, those seeds grow. And the best part? You no longer have to think about it. The decision is made once, and the system runs indefinitely. This isn't about depriving yourself. It's about reframing priorities. By securing tomorrow first, you give yourself permission to enjoy today without guilt. Your bills get paid, your spending adjusts, but in the background, your wealth is compounding. That's the peace of mind automation buys, not just knowing you're saving, but knowing it's happening without effort or constant vigilance. The difference between those who struggle financially and those who thrive often comes down to this principle. One group waits to save what's left, the other saves first and spends what's left. Over decades, that single difference creates entirely different lives. Start small, but start now. Each automated transfer is proof you've moved from hoping for wealth to building it systematically. This habit is the hinge that swings the door of financial progress wide open. From here, we address the biggest leak in most wealth plans, high-interest debt, and how eliminating it accelerates everything you've just set in motion. Paying yourself first ensures saving happens before spending. Automation builds wealth invisibly, removing the need for willpower. Even small amounts compound massively over time. How would your finances change if savings were automated before you ever saw the money? Set up an automatic transfer today, even $50, into a separate savings or investment account. Chapter 4: Debt Detox, Crushing High-Interest Liabilities Fast. Picture trying to fill a swimming pool while someone drains it with a hose. That's what it feels like to build wealth while carrying high-interest debt. No matter how much you pour in, the leak keeps winning. Credit card balances and payday loans aren't just obstacles, they're anchors. Every dollar sent to interest is a dollar that never gets the chance to grow for you. The first rule of compounding wealth is simple: stop compounding against yourself. High-interest debt is a wealth killer because it grows faster than most investments. A typical credit card charging 20% interest doubles what you owe in less than 4 years if unpaid. Compare that to the stock market's historical average of about 7% annual growth, and it's obvious, you can't outinvest bad debt. Before planting seeds, you must patch the holes. This isn't about shame, it's math. The faster you attack high-interest debt, the faster you free up cash flow to redirect towards savings and investing. There are two proven approaches for eliminating debt: the avalanche method and the snowball method. The avalanche focuses on paying off debts with the highest interest rates first while making minimum payments on the rest. It's mathematically efficient because it minimizes total interest paid. The snowball targets the smallest balances first, regardless of interest, building psychological momentum. Each payoff is a win that fuels motivation. The best method isn't the one experts argue about, it's the one you'll stick to. Choose the strategy that keeps you moving. Start by listing all debts, balances, interest rates, and minimum payments. Identify which method fits your personality. If seeing quick wins excites you, go snowball. If squeezing every dollar of interest savings motivates you, go avalanche. Either way, commit. Channel every extra dollar, bonuses, side hustle income, tax refunds, toward your chosen target. Momentum is your friend. Watching balances drop is one of the most motivating experiences in personal finance, and each debt eliminated feels like a raise. While paying off high-interest debt, avoid adding new ones. This is where budgeting guardrails matter. Using cash or debit for discretionary spending can help prevent the spiral. If possible, negotiate lower rates or transfer balances to 0% promotional offers, but only if you're disciplined enough to pay them off within the term. These tactics are accelerators, not substitutes for the core habit of aggressive repayment. Eliminating debt isn't just about numbers, it's about reclaiming mental space. Carrying debt is like living with background noise. It hums constantly, draining energy even when you're not consciously thinking about it. The moment it's gone, the silence is profound. Suddenly, the money once eaten by interest becomes yours to redirect toward building your future rather than paying for your past. Every payment is a brick removed from the wall between you and financial freedom. And once the high-interest chains are cut, the same determination that crushed debt becomes the engine for wealth. What was once sent to creditors now flows into savings and investments. That's when compounding flips in your favor, turning former liabilities into assets. Crushing debt is less about deprivation than it is about acceleration. It's the reset button that clears the runway for takeoff. Once you stop leaking cash to interest, your entire financial blueprint runs faster, smoother, and stronger. The next step harnesses that freed up energy and channels it into the most powerful accelerant of all, increasing your income. High-interest debt must be eliminated before wealth can grow. Avalanche minimizes interest. Snowball builds momentum. Both work if you commit. Every debt eliminated is a raise for your future self. Which debt payoff method, avalanche or snowball, best fits your motivation style? List all your debts with balances and interest rates, choose your strategy, and make one extra payment toward your top target this week. Chapter 5: The Income Engine, Expanding Your Earning Power. Cutting costs has its limits. There's only so much you can trim before life starts to feel like a constant squeeze. You can skip lattes, cancel subscriptions, and bargain shop, but at some point, frugality hits a wall. The real lever for wealth isn't just spending less, it's earning more. The gap between your income and expenses is your wealth-building runway, and expanding that gap is how you accelerate financial growth. Think of income as the engine that drives your financial vehicle. The stronger the engine, the faster you reach your destination. Millionaires don't rely solely on pinching pennies. They focus on boosting their income streams so that saving and investing happen naturally. More income creates more options, and options create freedom. This doesn't mean working endlessly or adding stress, it means being strategic about how you grow what you earn. Start where you are, your current job. The simplest way to increase income is often by negotiating a raise. Many people leave money on the table because they fear asking. Employers expect negotiation, it's built into the system. Research your market rate, document your results, and present a case rooted in value, not need. A 5% raise may not sound thrilling, but over decades it compounds into thousands saved and invested. One conversation can shift your entire trajectory. Next, consider skill building. High-income skills, like sales, project management, coding, or copywriting, command premium pay. Online courses, certifications, and mentorships can position you for promotions or career pivots. The most valuable skills tend to be those that solve pressing problems in the marketplace. Investing time here pays dividends far beyond the cost. In a world that rewards expertise, continuous learning is an income accelerator hiding in plain sight. Side hustles are another lever. Whether it's freelancing, tutoring, consulting, or selling products online, technology has made supplemental income more accessible than ever. Even $500 a month extra, directed toward debt payoff or investing, dramatically shortens timelines. The key is choosing something that aligns with your strengths and schedule, rather than draining your energy. A well-chosen side hustle isn't just about the cash, it can also open doors to new skills or full-time ventures. For those with entrepreneurial ambition, building scalable income streams is the ultimate expansion. Rental properties, digital products, or small businesses create revenue that isn't tied to hourly labor. While these require more upfront effort, they build systems that eventually work even when you're not actively trading time for money. That's how wealth shifts from linear to exponential. What matters most is focus. Avoid chasing every shiny opportunity. Instead, pick one or two strategies and commit. Income growth, like investing, compounds. Each raise, new skill, or side project stacks on the last. Over time, the gap between what you earn and what you spend widens naturally, making saving and investing feel effortless rather than forced. Boosting income also reframes your mindset from scarcity to abundance. Instead of obsessing over every small expense, you think in terms of expansion. You're no longer stuck cutting crumbs from a shrinking pie, you're baking a bigger one. That shift alone is powerful. It transforms money from something restrictive into something liberating. Once your income begins to rise, pairing it with the habits you've built, automated savings, disciplined debt payoff, supercharges your blueprint. More fuel in the engine, combined with a streamlined financial system, propels you forward at speed. With momentum growing, it's time to harness the next tool in your arsenal, investing. This is where your engine doesn't just move you forward, it multiplies your progress. Income growth is the ultimate wealth accelerator beyond cost cutting. Negotiation, skill building, and side hustles create upward momentum. Expanding the gap between earnings and expenses fuels faster wealth building. What's one income-boosting opportunity, raise, skill, or side hustle you could pursue in the next 30 days? Research market rates for your job or pick one side hustle idea today, and map out the first step to act on it. Chapter 6: The Investment Advantage: Simple, Smart, Stress-Free. Investing often feels like stepping into a foreign language. Terms like diversification, index funds, and market volatility can make it sound like only Wall Street insiders understand how it works. That confusion leads many to avoid investing entirely, parking money in savings accounts where it quietly loses value to inflation. Yet investing isn't a mysterious game, it's a simple, powerful tool that turns your income into lasting wealth. Done right, it's far less complicated than it looks. Think of investing like planting an orchard. Each dollar you invest is a seed. The earlier you plant, the sooner those seeds grow into trees that bear fruit year after year. Unlike a savings account, where your money sits still, investing puts your money to work. And over time, that work compounds. The challenge isn't complexity, it's patience and consistency. Those who stick with a steady approach almost always outperform those chasing hot tips or timing the market. The foundation of stress-free investing is simplicity. Low-cost index funds, which track the performance of entire markets rather than individual stocks, have historically outperformed most actively managed funds. They're like buying a basket of every fruit in the orchard instead of gambling on one tree. With index funds or exchange-traded funds ETFs, you don't need to predict winners or react to headlines. You're betting on the long-term growth of the overall economy, which has proven to rise steadily over time despite short-term dips. Start by opening a brokerage or retirement account. Many employers offer 401k plans with matching contributions, which are essentially free money. Always capture the match first. If you're investing independently, platforms like IRAs or taxable brokerage accounts work well. Set up automatic contributions, even modest ones, and let the system run. The best investors aren't the ones glued to market charts, they're the ones who automate and ignore the noise. Fear is the biggest barrier to investing. Market downturns spook people into pulling out their money, locking in losses, and missing the rebound. But history shows every major downturn has eventually recovered and reached new highs. Time in the market consistently beats attempts to time the market. Think of it like riding out turbulence on a plane. The bumps feel uncomfortable, but staying seated and trusting the flight plan gets you safely to your destination. Diversification is another key. Don't put all your money into one stock, one sector, or one trend. Spread it across broad funds and, if desired, mix in different asset classes like bonds or real estate. This balance reduces risk without sacrificing growth. When one area lags, another often offsets it. The goal isn't flashy returns, it's steady, sustainable progress that compounds over decades. Even if you start small, the habit matters most. Investing $200 a month in a simple index fund, compounded over 30 years, can grow into hundreds of thousands. That's not magic, it's math multiplied by time. The earlier you begin, the less you have to contribute later to reach the same outcome. When you view investing through this lens, it stops being intimidating and starts becoming empowering. You don't need to chase trends or predict markets, you just need to set up a simple system and stay consistent. Pair that with the income growth and debt freedom you've built, and suddenly, your money begins to work harder than you do. From here, you'll discover the quiet force that turns steady investing into exponential wealth, compound interest. Simple, low-cost investing beats complex strategies over time. Automation and diversification remove stress and emotion from investing. Time in the market, not timing the market, drives real growth. What's held you back from investing, and how would simplifying it remove that barrier? Open a brokerage or retirement account today and schedule an automatic monthly contribution, no matter how small. Chapter 7: Compound Interest, the Eighth Wonder Working for You. Albert Einstein reportedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, and for good reason. It's the quiet, relentless force that builds wealth while you sleep. At its core, compounding means your money earns returns, and those returns then earn returns of their own. Over time, the effect snowballs until what started as modest contributions transforms into substantial wealth. It's not about sudden leaps but steady growth magnified by patience. Imagine rolling a snowball down a hill. At first, it's small and slow, but with each turn it gathers more snow, growing larger and faster. That's compound interest at work. In the early years, progress feels gradual. The numbers don't look dramatic. But keep going, and the curve bends upward sharply. What seemed ordinary suddenly feels extraordinary because time has done the heavy lifting. The math behind it is simple yet profound. Say you invest $200 a month at a modest 7% annual return. After 10 years, you'd have roughly $35,000. Stretch that to 20 years, and it grows to around $100,000. Hold steady for 30 years, and you're near $245,000, most of which isn't your contributions but the interest earned on interest. The longer the horizon, the more dramatic the growth. Compounding rewards early starters not because they invest more, but because they give their money more seasons to grow. The beauty of compounding is that it's indifferent to scale. Even small amounts, invested consistently, become powerful over time. A teenager who invests $50 a month and never increases it will often outpace someone who starts at 30 investing 5 times as much, simply because of those extra years. Time is the multiplier you can't replace, which is why starting, even imperfectly, is far more valuable than waiting for the right moment. This principle works best when left undisturbed. The biggest enemy of compounding is interruption. Pulling money out early or chasing short-term gains resets the snowball just when it's gaining speed. This is why patience is essential. Market downturns tempt people to cash out, but those who stay invested reap the rebound. Compounding doesn't require brilliance, it requires staying put. Reinvestment is also key. Whether it's dividends from stocks or interest from bonds, reinvest rather than withdraw. Each reinvested dollar is another snowflake added to the snowball. Over decades, these small reinvestments fuel exponential growth. Think of it like planting seeds and letting every harvest replant itself, season after season, until you have an entire orchard producing fruit without new effort. Compounding isn't limited to investments. Debt works the same way, only in reverse. Just as interest on savings multiplies your wealth, interest on unpaid debt multiplies your losses. This is why paying off high-interest debt first was so crucial. It clears the runway for compounding to work for you instead of against you. Understanding compounding shifts your mindset from short-term gains to long-term vision. It reframes wealth building as a patient process, not a frantic race. Once you see how dramatically small, steady actions multiply over time, the impulse to gamble or panic fades. Instead, you trust the process, keep feeding it, and let time do what time does best. This is where wealth building changes from effort to momentum. Once compounding kicks in, growth feels inevitable. Your focus shifts from scraping for progress to protecting and maintaining the system you've built. And while compounding handles the math, your habits handle the behavior. Next comes the discipline that cements it all. The everyday money practices that keep your financial engine running smoothly without friction or burnout. Compound interest grows wealth exponentially by reinvesting returns. Time is the greatest multiplier. Start early and stay consistent. Patience and uninterrupted investing allow compounding to reach full strength. How would your perspective on money shift if you view time as your greatest financial ally? Use a compound interest calculator to project your investments over 10, 20, and 30 years to see the power of time firsthand. Chapter 8: Money Habits of the Financially Free. Wealth isn't just built with big decisions, it's sustained by small habits. The financially free don't succeed because they made one great choice. They succeed because they made hundreds of small, boring, consistent choices that added up over time. While others look for hacks, they build habits. While others chase motivation, they build systems. In the world of money, discipline beats inspiration every single time. Daily and weekly financial habits may not be flashy, but they're powerful. They remove guesswork, reduce stress, and keep your financial engine humming. The goal isn't to obsess over every dollar but to create a rhythm that makes managing money feel automatic. This rhythm doesn't require spreadsheets full of color-coded charts. It just needs consistency. The less you have to think about your finances, the more likely you are to stay on track. Start with a morning or weekly check-in. It could be 5 minutes glancing at your bank account, reviewing upcoming bills, or confirming that automatic transfers went through. These tiny check-ins prevent surprises. They also train your brain to stay financially aware without anxiety. Money stops being a mystery and becomes something you're calmly in control of. It's like checking your car's dashboard. You're just making sure everything's running smoothly. Next comes the monthly routine. This is where the bigger habits live. Set aside 30 minutes each month for a money checkpoint. During this time, update your net worth, review your spending, check your progress on goals, and make adjustments. If you're married or share finances, make it a joint review. Money stress in relationships often comes from silence, not scarcity. Talking openly, even briefly, builds trust and clarity. Budgeting is another foundational habit, but not in the restrictive, joy-killing way people fear. Think of a budget as a plan for freedom, not a cage. It tells your money where to go before someone else does. Use whatever tool you'll stick with, an app, a spreadsheet, or a notebook. The format doesn't matter. What matters is knowing your numbers and adjusting with intention, not reaction. A budget is just a conversation between your income and your goals. One overlooked habit of the financially free is periodic friction. That means reviewing recurring expenses at least once per quarter. Look for subscriptions you forgot about, services you no longer use, or plans you can renegotiate. Just as you clean out your closet seasonally, clean out your finances too. Trimming excess not only saves money, it creates mindfulness. Another high-impact habit is setting short-term money goals. While long-term investing and wealth building are slow games, short-term wins build momentum. Saving for a vacation, paying off one credit card, or hitting a monthly savings target gives you something to celebrate. These mini milestones reinforce progress and keep the journey rewarding. Finally, automate as much as possible. The more your system runs without you, the less likely you are to derail it. Automatic bill pay prevents fees. Automatic transfers build savings. Automatic investing keeps your plan moving, even when you're distracted. Habits rooted in automation don't rely on your mood, energy, or memory. They run rain or shine. The financially free aren't born with more willpower, they build better systems. They don't panic at every expense because they have routines. They don't overspend because their money already has a job. They don't stress over market news because they've already automated their response. Their freedom isn't an accident, it's the product of deliberate habits stacked over time. Now that your habits are in motion, it's time to prepare for life's curveballs. Because even the best systems get tested. In the next chapter, you'll learn how to build resilience, protect your progress, and weather financial storms without losing momentum. Wealth is sustained by consistent daily, weekly, and monthly money habits. Automation and awareness reduce stress and increase control. Habits turn discipline into freedom, even in unpredictable times. Which money habit could you build this week that would make your finances easier, not harder? Schedule a 30-minute monthly money checkpoint on your calendar right now, and commit to doing your first one this week. Chapter 9: Weathering Financial Storms, Building Resilience. Financial progress isn't a straight line. Life throws curveballs, job losses, medical bills, car breakdowns, market downturns. Even the most disciplined plans get tested. The difference between those who recover quickly and those who spiral isn't luck, it's preparation. Building resilience means creating a financial buffer strong enough to absorb shocks without derailing your entire blueprint. It's about expecting storms and reinforcing your foundation before they hit. The cornerstone of resilience is an emergency fund. This is your financial umbrella, designed not for everyday spending but for genuine crises. A flat tire isn't an emergency fund event, a sudden layoff is. Start with the goal of covering 1 month's expenses, then build gradually toward 3 to 6 months. For dual-income households, 3 months often suffices. For single earners or volatile industries, aim higher. Keep this fund in a separate, high-yield savings account where it's easy to access but not tempting to dip into. It's not glamorous, but it's the difference between a rainy day and a financial flood. Insurance is another pillar of resilience. Health, auto, home, and life insurance may feel like dull expenses, but they're shields against catastrophic costs. A single medical emergency or car accident without coverage can undo years of progress. Review your policies annually, ensuring they match your current needs. Underinsuring to save a few dollars a month is like locking your front door but leaving the windows open. Proper coverage isn't optional, it's essential. Diversification also plays a role in resilience. Just as you wouldn't rely on one crop to feed an entire farm, you shouldn't rely on one income source or one type of investment. Multiple income streams, whether from side hustles, rental properties, or dividends, act as backup engines if one stalls. In investing, spreading money across various assets cushions you during market downturns. When one sector dips, another may hold steady or rise. This balance doesn't eliminate risk but makes it manageable. Another overlooked component is maintaining flexibility. Fixed expenses that consume too much of your income reduce your ability to pivot in a crisis. Keeping housing, car payments, and lifestyle inflation in check creates breathing room. The lower your monthly obligations relative to income, the easier it is to adapt when something goes wrong. Flexibility is financial agility. It allows you to adjust quickly without panic. Resilience also means having a plan before you need it. If you lost your job tomorrow, what's your first move? Who would you call? Which bills would you pause? Answering those questions now removes panic later. It's the difference between reacting emotionally and executing calmly. The same applies to market volatility. Decide in advance that you won't pull out investments during downturns. History shows markets recover, but only for those who stay invested. Preparation turns chaos into inconvenience. Mental resilience matters too. Financial storms are stressful, but perspective helps. Remember that setbacks are temporary when your system remains intact. The goal of resilience isn't to eliminate problems, it's to ensure problems don't eliminate your progress. Each time you withstand a storm, confidence grows. You realize your blueprint isn't fragile, it's durable. When you've built resilience, emergencies become detours, not dead ends. Instead of scrambling, you calmly deploy your emergency fund, adjust your budget, and keep moving forward. This is the stage where financial stress no longer controls you because you've built buffers against it. With resilience in place, your foundation is strong enough for the next phase, scaling beyond stability. The following chapter shifts from protection to expansion, showing how to leverage surplus resources and opportunities to grow from security into true abundance. An emergency fund, proper insurance, and diversification are core to financial resilience. Flexibility and pre-planned responses prevent crises from becoming catastrophes. Resilience turns financial storms into temporary setbacks, not permanent derailments. If a major financial setback hit tomorrow, how prepared would you be to handle it without panic? Open a separate high-yield savings account and transfer your first $100 toward an emergency fund this week. Chapter 10: Scaling Wealth, From Stability to Abundance. Once your financial foundation is secure, the focus shifts from defense to offense. You've eliminated high-interest debt, automated savings, built resilience, and established steady investing. Now comes the stage where wealth building accelerates. Scaling wealth isn't about working endlessly or taking reckless risks. It's about leveraging systems, surplus, and smarter strategies to turn stability into abundance. This is where your money stops just supporting your life and begins multiplying it. The first lever for scaling is increasing your investment contributions. With debt gone and expenses stable, the extra cash flow can be redirected toward long-term growth vehicles. Raising your contribution percentage in retirement accounts or brokerage investments supercharges compounding. Each additional dollar invested early has decades to work for you. This shift doesn't require new sacrifices, it's about reallocating what's freed up from previous stages toward higher returns. Next is exploring scalable income streams. A traditional salary has limits, hours in exchange for dollars. To scale wealth, look for income sources that break this direct trade of time for money. Rental properties, for example, generate monthly cash flow while also appreciating in value. Digital products or online businesses create assets that can sell repeatedly without constant input. Dividend-paying stocks or REITs add passive income layers. These streams don't replace your primary income at first, but each one is another gear in your wealth engine. Entrepreneurship is another path for those inclined. Building a small business or side venture that can eventually grow beyond solo effort creates leverage. While riskier upfront, it offers control over both income and scalability. Many fortunes are built not by extreme frugality but by combining discipline with ventures that outgrow their creators' direct labor. Even modest ventures, consulting, e-commerce, or service businesses, can generate profits that feed investments and accelerate your timeline. Tax optimization is an often overlooked piece of scaling. Wealthy individuals don't simply earn more, they keep more by structuring income and investments efficiently. Maximizing tax-advantaged accounts like 401ks, IRAs, or HSAs shields more of your income from taxes. As wealth grows, strategies like capital gains planning, charitable giving, or utilizing legal deductions become increasingly valuable. This isn't about gaming the system, it's about using the rules as they exist to retain more of what you earn and invest. Scaling wealth also involves upgrading your network and knowledge. Being around those who are financially ahead of you creates exposure to new opportunities, ideas, and perspectives. The habits, strategies, and mindset of abundance are contagious. Books, courses, and mentors in this phase shift your focus from "How do I get by?" to "How do I multiply?" Staying teachable keeps growth continuous. It's critical, however, to guard against lifestyle inflation during this phase. The temptation to upgrade everything, cars, homes, vacations, can quietly consume the very surplus that fuels wealth scaling. Enjoying rewards is fine, but anchor them to milestones. For example, celebrate doubling your investment contributions before upgrading your car. Aligning lifestyle upgrades with financial progress keeps expansion sustainable and intentional. Scaling is less about radical change and more about refinement. You're taking a stable system and pouring more fuel into it. Every additional dollar is directed into assets that grow and generate returns, creating a flywheel effect. Eventually, the returns themselves outpace new contributions, and wealth takes on a momentum of its own. At this point, you're no longer just financially stable, you're financially expanding. With scalable income, smarter investments, and disciplined reinvestment, you move from security toward abundance. The final step to lock this in is ensuring you stay on course. That's where the monthly review becomes the compass, keeping your trajectory aligned as wealth accelerates. Scaling wealth means shifting from stability to offense through investing and scalable income. Tax efficiency, continuous learning, and avoiding lifestyle inflation sustain growth. Abundance comes from leveraging systems, not chasing shortcuts. What scalable income or investment opportunity could you pursue that aligns with your skills and interests? Increase your current investment contribution by 1% this month and explore one additional income stream idea to pursue. Chapter 11: The Monthly Money Review, Small Tweaks, Big Results. Wealth isn't built from one-time decisions, it's built from regular check-ins that keep you on course. Just like a pilot doesn't set a flight path and walk away from the controls, you can't set a financial plan and expect it to run forever without adjustments. The Monthly Money Review is your cockpit dashboard, giving you clear feedback on where you are, what's working, and what needs correction. Small, consistent reviews prevent small issues from growing into major setbacks and keep your wealth-building engine running smoothly. This review isn't complicated. It takes 30 minutes or less and creates clarity that lasts for weeks. Start by updating your net worth. Record the balances of your bank accounts, investments, debts, and other assets. Subtract liabilities from assets and compare to the previous month. Even minor progress is encouraging. Watching this number trend upward over time reinforces that your actions matter, even if the gains are gradual. If it dips, you'll catch it early and can diagnose why. Next, review your spending. Look over your bank or credit card statements for patterns. Did you stick to your plan? Were there unexpected expenses? This isn't about guilt, it's about awareness. If you overspent, ask why and adjust. Maybe it's a one-time event, or maybe it's a recurring habit worth addressing. Identifying these patterns monthly allows you to course-correct long before they spiral. Then, examine your savings and investment contributions. Confirm that automated transfers ran as scheduled. If you received extra income, like a bonus or side hustle payment, decide how much to direct toward investments or debt. These decisions are easiest in the moment. Left unplanned, that money often disappears. Even small increases, made month by month, build powerful momentum. Debt review is equally important if you're still paying any down. Check balances and confirm you're on track with your chosen payoff strategy. Celebrate each drop in principal. These micro-wins provide fuel to stay committed, especially in the middle stretch when enthusiasm naturally wanes. After reviewing numbers, look ahead. Note upcoming bills, events, or expenses in the next month so they don't surprise you. Birthdays, car maintenance, annual fees, these are predictable if you plan for them. Anticipation prevents the panic spending that derails budgets. If an unusual cost is coming, adjust now by trimming elsewhere or redirecting extra income so it doesn't create debt. This is also the time to revisit your goals. Are you still on track for your savings target this year? Have your priorities shifted? Maybe you want to accelerate a down payment fund or put more toward retirement. A quick check-in ensures your plan evolves with your life. Money is dynamic, and your review keeps it aligned with your current reality and future vision. One powerful addition to the review is reflection. Ask yourself how you felt about money this month. Was it stressful? Smooth? Empowering? Noticing your emotions around finances helps you separate real issues from perceived ones. Often, the anxiety fades when the facts are clear. This emotional awareness builds confidence, making you less reactive when challenges arise. The monthly review isn't just maintenance, it's a momentum booster. Each session reaffirms control, prevents drift, and creates visible proof of progress. Over time, this habit compounds like everything else in wealth building. You stop wondering where your money went and start telling it where to go. With this ritual in place, you've created a feedback loop that keeps your blueprint sharp and responsive. You're no longer flying blind, you're steering deliberately. Now it's time to take this entire system, every habit, step, and principle, and tie it together into a single, cohesive path forward. Monthly reviews keep finances aligned and prevent small problems from compounding. Tracking net worth, spending, and goals creates clarity and control. Consistency transforms maintenance into momentum. How would a monthly review change your confidence in handling money day to day? Schedule a recurring 30-minute monthly review on your calendar and commit to completing your first session this week. Take care and be well.